Oh my God. So, hello, YouTubers. Okay, so it's your girl Kelly. Now, I just want you to know we are doing the best we can out here. The dog is awake. We are just really feeling good about the situation because we had to, you just have to really realize that life is a good life and just be grateful. That's what you have to do. So I think we had a really good day. I took a late bath shower. We had a good time. And we went to get food that was in our basket. So we didn't have to really pay for the food today. Yesterday I wanted to pay for it, but yeah. And then today, hopefully, checking, making sure we're good. So that's it. Somebody at a rest stop was kind of like very nice enough to like try to get me to be able to take a shower. And 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 I said, you know, it's praise God, but a sink wash up was it was my mom's go-to for most of her life. And so at this point, that's what you have to deal with when you're glamping. I do have a bin, but it is not exactly what I had in mind. But I can't take the bin and then use Ziploc to hold the water, like one clean, one that I dump out from the sink, make one soapy, kind of wash up in the back. But it's not really appropriate, I don't think, So I think this person's like super nice, but it's just not appropriate. So I'm like, no, I'm not really into, I'm like, I'm not really into, like he's trying to, help me a little bit. But I don't like anybody in the truck. And I don't want anybody, helping me in that way. So, rest assured, there's a rest truck stop next across the way. And it's just really, ladies, when you're on the road, you know, what dictates your safety is you. So I would take that and pay the $10 or $7 it's supposed to cost to take the showers, and that's it. It's a little bit late, and we did take a shower late. So the snow that was coming, that I was all worried about, to stick around for a little while, that was it. So we are going to try, I think, and this is just me, to just kind of see where I can go from here and travel a little bit further south and a little bit further warmer, but not too warm. We've had lovely days, and this really is my kind of weather. But the people, especially in this rigged community, as they come up, so I'm just going to show you how they're coming over the horizon now, really, really slowly. And that's what these truckers are. And they come and they go over here. So basically, that's a police stop over there and a way station. But they're basically really the worst of the worst of the complaints come from them. They feel victimized for some reason. And there's really no reason to, because I'm one person. I don't use the entire bathroom for hours and hours. And, basically, they're just, I don't know what's wrong. Like, they can't share the country. Well, it's a big country, and this is only a town of like 1,000 people. So, kind of strange that they're the ones having, I feel victimized by this black woman. And it's just so surreal. Like, this is the kind of stuff where I'm just like, put it this way. I just didn't realize how much prejudiced people affect other prejudiced people. And that's what it is. And then I realized that that's the way it is. And so this is the group, and you can see them, and I'm filming them coming in. But this is that afternoon group, that evening group that comes in, and just to get them on camera, just it doesn't really matter. But this is how they're rude, they're obnoxious, they're terrible, and they're very proud of it. They don't want their life here to change, and no one here is trying to change their life. In a day or two, I would have been gone, except I saw a camper that I liked, and that was it. And by the time I got there today, even though it was pretty early, I didn't realize they closed a little bit early. So I was ready to check to see what the offering was on the camper. And then, unfortunately, like I said, they were closed. And that was it. So that was the only reason I was staying. And then that's it. It had nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with their lifestyle, their religion, their culture. I'm not anti this place. This place is wonderful. But, I love the weather. I've enjoyed conversations with people from different walks of life. But this is the one group that's having a kind of, Steel Magnolias moment where they're thinking that it's unfair, and I'm like, I'm not here to blow sunshine up people's tahunkas, but I'm not here to change your life. If you're a truck driver when I leave, I left you unscathed. And I have no intention of working here or living here because while I like small towns, I'm not looking to live in town. I would be looking to glamp and camp or to do dispersed camping or to do, what do you call it when you're, stealth camping in the city. So this is not where I want to be, but basically, I'm getting all sorts of, just misinformation. And so hopefully their whole rhetoric is just based on, it's based on, whatever they want to base it on. I don't really know what they're saying. It's just that I get yelled at because there's this people who yell at people. None of the things are really hurtful, not to me. I'm not really offended by what they say most of the time because, it's, who's saying it, they don't really have self-worth and they don't really count. And it's not like I'm going to break bread and we're going to be best friends and skip down the lane, like the yellow brick lane. So, I mean, to me, that is, and they don't come to your face. They might walk by you and say something. But I always inferred that that was just the lunacy of life, And anybody who does that, they forfeit the right to be your friend anyway. So I know this guy who works here probably just wanted to take pictures, right? Or something like that, or be some sort of a weirdo. It seemed like, or he was trying to make me genuinely comfortable, but he was so mad when I said no that I just had really set suspicions about it. And I was just like, no, I'll just go here. And I just think if he was being sweet, it's too much too soon. And I think also this is the type of stuff where, you don't want to do this. He said, oh, you can lock the door. And I was like, I don't know about this place, man. It's like, you could stay trapped here for a long time. Oh, these next two vehicles, see the red truck with the white and these truck? Oh my God. They will be back. Oh my God. They will be back. So it's a nuisance. It's a nuisance. And the fact of the matter is they're basically like, I think they're lady drivers. But, at one point in time, I suppose, they probably peeked too deeply into my life and were disappointed to find out that reality, when it meets reality, it's not the same. There's stuff in the corners of our mind, and I remember, like, this group, I can't remember what their De La Soul saying, and I'll just put you back with the rest. Some fantasies I keep there so that I can use them. I don't want to share them with other people. They're not to be, it wasn't, they were never meant to be seen. They were for my use, my personal use. That's why they're in my mind. And basically, it's pretty messed up, for people to be like disappointed because you put it back on the shelf and you take it out and use it when you want to use it. That's my toolbox, not anyone else's. And I had no intentions of ever, going full, reality on any of that because it's just unnecessary. You use it and then 5 minutes later you're asleep. Or doing laundry. So that's about it. It was never meant to be anything more. And that's about it. So, other than that, we're semi-okay. And I am going to try to tinker along and do the best that I can do. Unfortunately, it's sometimes I don't even know how Harriet Tubman escaped to the north. So, damn. So, but I guess she was thin by the time she got there because she had to walk almost like 100 miles each trip. So, so maybe they were just, the bottom line is she glamped. And I'd like to, actually, if you really think that it's really preposterous for people to believe what they want to believe, you should always listen to a strange group of people talking amongst themselves, thinking that somebody has done them one over. But I remember when Adolf Hitler put out his propaganda, he said that Jews had killed a kid. This Jewish couple had killed a baby. And also that they had circulated that they were using Christian babies in order to do their blood sacrifices and their seders. That for some time now, they had become a cult. So the Jewish people were looking for prophets, and there was a sorcerer among them. And because of this, he was trying to make the Germans like a pure race away from them. But there were many Jewish Germans. And so everybody just dyed their hair blonde and made sure that they blended a little bit better. And some people snuck out of the country and were able to get away, like Albert Einstein. But they used the same propaganda, other groups of people, to say that, as soon as they put that out there, that they murdered a baby, that's when people, the Catholic Church shunned them. They wouldn't allow anybody to go over and interfere in the war. And that's why the Catholic Church issued a public apology to the Jews for all they had to go through. And that is the way it is. So I think it's really interesting how the dichotomy has changed, and now they're using that same propaganda on throughout countries that belong to the United Nations. And this is just the way it is. It's not really one nation under God. It's a United Nations under whoever, the head of the UN. And so he dictates what people are allowed to do. And he does this through the people who live in the country. And that's all it is. So you don't really, you're not really in your own country anymore. You're basically, you're in a united conglomerate of countries where nationalism and super tyrannical nationalism is rampant. So everybody is reporting on everybody else. And basically they're reporting whatever they can tell so that they can basically get fat on the gleeslings that are left. And that's the mission of it. I've never come to a town where there's so many help wanted signs, and yet everyone's like, you need to leave because everyone here is white. I'm just going to be honest with you. And I said, wow, that is true. The truck drivers aren't, but everyone else appears to be very diverse. So it's kind of a weird, kind of stupid, weird thing. So, I've had kind of, even, today, like the cops are yelling at me over the big mic in town and just telling me to get out. That's how bad it is here, being like the only black woman. And I'm like, what stirs this is so weird. You never know what it is. And they say this, and that's all there is to it. So, but if you've seen the clips of women who were black, and they tell you to go to Jerusalem, get that ticket, because what they can do, they tell you you're spiritual. They tell you read the gospel, but they're trying to say that you're the whore of Babylon. And you need to go to Jerusalem because no prophet can be killed outside of Jerusalem. Quote unquote is their method of madness. So really staying out of Jerusalem is really the only thing that can save your life. Because if you go to Jerusalem, well, they'll just say, well, so you thought you were a prophet. Well, that's like blasphemy. And I forget what else. That other word, being a heretic. So basically, they'll take your passport and they'll hold you out. And you'll be damaged. You'll be damaged more. Put it that way. So that is, they use college students. They use different people. They just use Americans. Let me put it that way. Whether or not you have dual citizenship. Once you're ousted, and it's the same with China. They do the same thing. Oh, we promise you a house over here. Why don't you come back? We know, hey, this is who you are, and we want to stand by you. We're going to give you a house. Look, if they've never given you $1 before, the likelihood of you getting a house and being married and having kids, it ain't going to happen. Okay? They want to make sure that you don't succeed. Okay? And that includes your family. They've already won them over. So don't worry. They're going to be just nice enough to tolerate you until they're told to do something to sabotage you. So don't worry. And the equal and unequal footing of it all is that it doesn't matter. No one wants to marry you. Nobody wants you to have a child. No one's going to give you a house. Your life's not going to be glamorous. You're basically, the proponent is that you say something against Israel and then you become an anti-Semitic. So they propose that you become a Muslim, and that's what happens because you are either spiritually inclined, they notice this, and they want to knock you down away from that. So that's all. And that's all. So, I mean, I'm like a regular person. Nobody special, not that cute, not wealthy at all. And it just seems like it's, oh, we're just playing with you. But the damage they've done in in everything that they've done and undercutting is not punking. This is actual real damage, and there's no real dimension to it. And I remember my Israeli friend saying to me when he was my friend, or when I thought he was my friend, he said, the real damage that you do to a woman is to damage her and make sure that no one sees a scar. So when you walk around, you don't look like there's anything wrong with you, except that you're, of course, batshit crazy. And then he even told me how this woman was saying how he told me one of the past women he had dated was saying, like, the government, she can hear the government and they're after her. And, she's always saying she wants to kill herself. And, she's just crazy, but I like had to let her go. And this was my Israeli friend, who wasn't my friend at all. He was just giving me examples of all the people he has so far killed or put into prostitution or just enfranchised. And it is like the worst nightmare. It has come true for all these other people because he is really good at playing mind games with people. And so I wouldn't want to be anywhere near him. That's a kind of darkness that you don't get, you don't feel, like Kanye was like, I took 32 showers. I'm like, I'm never going to be clean. I'm never going to be clean. It's that bad. It's that bad. So that's some Armageddon stuff. It's horrible. And I don't even want to talk about the darkness that has surrounded me since then. It has been like the furies of hell have been set free and the demonic world is there. But all it is that God hardens the hearts of the people around you to try to make sure that you're, going to not waver from Christianity. And that's all that is. So the basis is don't believe anything people are saying and don't take help from them. So, yeah, try to be as self-reliant as possible, even if it's new to you and you don't know what you're doing. Just punk up, man up, girl up, woman up, black woman up, and don't believe anybody. Even if they're crying, don't believe them. Even if they're fake crying, because they're usually fake crying. And even if they propose that you need to give them sympathy, don't do it. Actually, just ignore them completely if you can. That it would be the best advice I can give you. Kanye is listening. And I think the reason he's listening is because he knows something is up and up. But really, this has not changed, okay? The mission of the CIA is to divide cultures and to put the lesser group that's more familiar under a group of people who are in power so that they can exploit that lesser group sexually, by their work labor and free labor. And if there's something they need to do in a country, they are willing to take a part of that country and designate it as that lesser group. So like when Mexicans come here and they throw a baby over the wall, that's that lesser group. Okay? Now, Mexicans who have been here for a while and they see you throwing people over the wall, they don't necessarily go to the wall and try to rescue people to get them over the wall. It's a case-by-case basis, right? So basically, each group of familiars here has raised themselves up a little bit, right? So you have a lot of Hispanics on TV, in the news. They've purged out a lot of black people, even from, the seat. But when you see the seat, it's usually black, Hispanic. There's usually someone, maybe mixed race, and then someone white passing, Hispanic, or there might be someone who's Asian, and then there might be a white, Asian, black, majority white that sit in the room with, and basically they don't want anything to do with the typecasting of what it is that delineates them from someone who is a lesser people. They want to maintain the glam, even if they want to maintain the status quo. And that is a really important thing for them, even if they sit around chatting about absolutely nothing of significance. It is important. They are to be seen, and what you're seeing is the infiltration of what it means to be cool, calm, and collected, and to make sure that you're able to have the power at the round table to disenfranchise other people at will. Like, doesn't that seem strange? Doesn't she seem rude? Doesn't that seem like that disqualifies her? She would never be a part of my group. So there's kind of a salient pacifistness of it where they just do a shunning. And this whole idea of shunning the person is not new. This is old school. I mean, and some religions are better at it than others. I mean, I had a friend who was shunned in his teens, and he had, early teens. I'm talking mom and dad still sit at the table with him, fix him a plate and place it before him, but he is not spoken to at all. And this is like their own child, but because he doesn't attend their church, that's what that he had to endure. And of course he just left. He left home early, or whenever he was ready to graduate from high school, he just left. And so there becomes like a talkative story that you would actually put someone else, before your family. But I also find that he's not the devil at all, and he's not a bad person at all, but he can be used by the same people to disenfranchise and shun someone else. Sure, of course he can, because you won't know you're shunning them. You won't know who is saying what, when, what, where, because they're just yelling it from afar and in the computer. But I'll give you some guesses. Israeli government and control. So legislative, judicial, executive. And you can find out the names of the people they're shunning because they write a report, and it's from the AOUS courts. And that goes to the vice president, but it's public record. So you'll see who hung out with who, and whether or not you felt like the group of people who know that person, they all had to shun them because they had someone who they feel was in their midst they can call this person and that person. So I applaud the people who have Airbnbs, but if you're in a metropolitan city, do yourself a favor, and you can't discriminate. You're not supposed to be able to discriminate on the site, but I can tell you right now, they're discriminating on me because I was openly, I openly was diversified because I had people from different medical school, the medical school, AIRP, and that medical school has doctors from around the world. They have to complete that final clinical rotation in order to go on and practice medicine. So This is just, it's tip of the jar of, of really, nothingness. Obviously, they're going on to become a doctor. I'm not in cahoots with them. And the pressures that doctors face in school these days, they have a suicide a week, maybe two, maybe three, because it's very difficult. COVID doctors, I think, had it the worst. If you were coming off of clinical rotations and you had to deal with COVID, I think COVID doctors and nurses had it the worst because every other patient was dying. I mean, that must have been horrible. So this is horrible. But I have to say that, it's, we already saw that. And hopefully things are improving. I hope they are. So just remember that, take it easy. Sometimes I don't take it easy, but I'm also, I can't react to everything. But Lord knows I'll probably make a news channel or something like that one day because of my antics, but I'm not trying to. I just know that I don't really need, the extra push and shove, especially because that was like, it's always like my reasoning. You need that thing? Go get that thing. You don't need to lie. Yeah, here's one of the trucks. They're just beeping, beeping, beeping. There's absolutely no traffic except him and another car. So that's it. And they just add to the story because they're just ridiculous. So I have to say, this is the way, the truth, and the life. Just go on about your business and ignore them. And don't give them any credence. If they want to be upset, let them be upset. That's the way I feel. I'd rather my family, my friends that I previously called family and friends, formerly known as family and friends, just stay angry, my friends. Stay angry, and that's the way I like it. I would like to know that, yeah, you're angry. Because that's what I feel is best. That's what you do best. So don't let me interfere in your horn blowing to, I feel like I have to hate you. Yeah, well, we all have choices. Also, again, with the Trump thing, he's not my boyfriend. Donald Trump is not my boyfriend. Former President Trump is not my boyfriend. Can I say that on a video? Okay. It is not accomplished. Can I just say that even if it were true, I'm not a Milana competition here, but I'm also we're not going to be married anytime soon. So I believe they brought up Donald Trump, my former boss, which was 4 levels above me and lived in about 1,500 to 2,000 miles away from me, saying that we had some really great relationship, which we do not. I do not have a good relationship with any of these people. I had admiration, and now what I have is a silence agreement. And that silence agreement is me saying, I don't believe what these people are saying. I believe that a bunch of college kids got angry. That much I can believe. But I also believe that he didn't have enough electoral votes. The states that he did win at, they didn't have enough votes. I mean, he was down by almost 106 votes. He just wasn't going to make it. I think it was either 106 or 136. So if you want to make sure he gets elected, here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Vote for somebody who's going to vote him in. Vote Republican. Okay? All right? And that's how you have to do it. So your constituencies, that group, those representatives, vote Republican. Okay? Now, that's how you do it. And if you want to talk to the Electoral College, well, I suggest you go to 270, I think it's called 270.com. something like that. I think it was 360 when Trump was doing it, but now I think it's 270. It's either 270 electoralcollege.com, or you can look it up on Google it. But they will give you what is a red state, what is a blue state. They will give you the number of representatives, and they'll tell you the electoral college votes for each state that is required by those representatives. So you need to go out and vote in the midterms. That's what carries this. And if you haven't done so, then if you wish to participate, you don't have to come mad at me, and Trump doesn't have to ask for a recount. You just need to do your part, okay? So, again, the power is in your hands. I give it back to you to either punk people into thinking they matter when they don't. They have a hand in it when they don't. So, yes, vote or don't vote. It's up to you. And have a very, very, very warm night in these parts. I have a feeling that officially and unofficially, well, hopefully, the delights of the season are still to come, or yet to come. And take care of yourself. Like I said, here's that truck. It's here again. So I'm just so happy about that as they go and make a turnaround. So this is me saying you can watch the same traffic go around and around in a circle too, but I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm just going to play one of my video games since I'm not doing aftermarket trades tomorrow. So have fun. Yay. Bye.